Hello, welcome to another episode of the A24 New Wave companion podcast. This is the first since our crowdfund, so yay! I'm here with Alex Mel Taylor. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Mel Taylor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so, Alex, you go by Alex, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It says Alex on the screen, so I would assume so. But Alex, would you like to tell people what you do, what you're into, where to find you, that kind of thing?
Of course, Aaron. Name is Alex. I'm a pop culture and politics commentator. I have a Medium blog. You can find me at Alex Has Opinions, where I'm given all sorts of hot takes. I always joke that if there's a hill out there, I've died on it. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
There are a lot of hills to die. We got to pick our hills wisely. But I like opinions and I respect opinions, even if I don't agree with them. But I think we'll get into that. So we're going to talk today about representation and in film. And this is A24, so we can start there. But of course, it's not the only only game in town. There's lots of representation. I'd say some good, some bad. I'm interested in your opinions on that. But just to tee it up from the book standpoint, so I chose A24 in large part because I like their movies, obviously, but I also like how I'm a straight cis male, white male, um, and so I'm very much in a bubble, and I'm very much only exposed to my world, and I think that film is a great way of sharing another person's experience, whether it's a culture, whether it's any sort of representation. That's why I love foreign films, because I like to learn about how people live their world. So, for example, Manash is a A24 film about Hasidic Judaism. I would never get that exposure anywhere else but film, just because it's a very insular crowd. So that's part of why I wanted to write about A24. And I have a chapter. I'm nearly finished with the first draft of the manuscript, and I have a chapter later that I actually have been waiting, because I want to see all the movies first, and it's just about representation. And but I've already written the Moonlight chapter, for example, so that's 2016. And as you can see, the cover of my book is inspired by Moonlight. I've written the Greta Gerwig chapters, and they've had a lot of female filmmakers, and so I'm also looking at different. There's of course Asian filmmakers with everything everywhere, all at once, and I'm looking specifically at queer films too. And so I just watched Problemista the other day, and of course I saw the TV Glow is a big one this year, and I. Of course, Queer, the movie Queer. I have not seen that yet. Dick's the musical. So there, bodies, bodies, bodies. So there's a lot of and I just watched Climax this week, so that has a little bit of that's a whole lot of stuff. That's Gaspar Noé. Uh, Trigger warning with any Gaspar Noé film, I would beware. But so Alex, to put you on the spot. I know you're an A24 fan, but do you want to talk about what you like about A24, or what you and yeah,
Yeah,
start
of
there.
course. I like that A24 just goes for big swings in general. I feel like conceptually, you've had a lot of stagnation in the Hollywood space. Like, there's been this sort of financialization with a lot of media where a lot of IP that a more traditional studios are doing is very safe. It's trying to hit sort of
Mhm.
almost like a formula or an equation. You have the MCU, you have all the other properties that are out there. And A24, like, there are many very talented and innovative filmmakers out there, but A24 seems to be like almost an incubator, to use sort of like a VC term,
Good word.
for
Yeah.
films that probably would not be financed, films and television shows that would not be financed today if it didn't exist.
I like that you pointed out TV, because A24 is a lot more than film, and also comedians too. So there's a big comedian space. I also I'm kind of in the preliminary research. That's the thing, is there's like 170 films and counting, um, and some of those are stand-up, specials. So just watched Remy Youssef the other day, and he has another one. So he's a interesting voice. But yeah, I think it was around 2016, and I know this because I've well written most of a book, but they started out. I like your word incubator. They started out just like any film company or any label, I guess distribution company, just going to festivals, buying films, and there's a little bit of representation and diversity. But once they started producing their own stuff, and Moonlight, by the way, was the first film they produced of their own. Then and then Lady Bird, I think, was their third film. The Lovers was the second, and then of course they produced a whole bunch more. And I think that once they've had more control over their content, they're not just bidding against different companies. Basically, it seems like they've gotten more diverse, and I think they've leaned into that. So, are there any films that stand out for in their catalog? Um,
Uh, I love I Saw the TV Glow. I think it was one of my favorite movies last year.
nice.
Just it's very I understand why their other movie got nominated. It's very frustrating that the Oscars Amelia Perez is sort of the like queer movie that is in the
Yeah.
nomination space and not I Saw the TV Glow because I just thought that was such a good one.
I loved Jane Schunbrunn, I believe is how you pronounce her last name, and I think her pronouns her. I'm not positive, but I like that the response to not getting nominated was it was something like, "Oh, that tracks. That makes sense." And we had a prior conversation before coming on the podcast about Amelia Perez, and I think that I know some people that like the film, and I think they like it because it is ambitious, it's daring. I don't know if you watched The Umbrellas of Cherbourg by Demi. I kind of think of it as trying to be that, but
Uh-huh.
but it makes I just personally don't like it as a film. I think it. I don't really know why, but I wouldn't like it with that as a film, whether it was good with the culture, whether it was good with portraying a trans character. Um,
Yeah.
Now for me, so I'm in my I guess privilege bubble, for lack of a better term. So I wouldn't and I saw the TV Glow, and I did not know when I first saw it. It was almost probably almost a year, maybe a little less. I did not know the subject matter. I just knew the influences. So there's David Lynch is all over it. Of course, Buffy is a big part of it. But I'm watching it like I would watch a David Lynch film, trying to piece it together, and then it all kind of clicked at the end, and I was like, wow. So yeah, is that kind of how it hits you, or I just think
I
it's like, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. If we're talking about I Saw the TV Glow,
Yeah.
for me, I sort of saw it from the very beginning because the film uses color theory very well
Yes.
all
Yes.
throughout. So the trans colors are very prominent in pretty much every scene that's white and pink and blue. And specifically, the colors pink and blue are very prominent. Like you see them almost in every scene. So I really love the movie for its color theory, like its
Nice.
use of colors with that. I thought that was very clever. So I clocked that immediately, but I'm very hypersensitive to that. So it's like the very beginning of the film, they're in this sort of like tent like structure,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the trans flag in the background, like the colors. And
I
so you
didn't know
see
that.
that,
I
and you're
didn't know
like,
that.
oh, well, I know
Huh.
where this is going. So the subtext is there immediately, but it does take, I would say, like till the second act or the third act of the film to really like
Yeah.
the twist to sort of rear its head.
The third act, I think, especially, and that's so again, Amelia Perez, bad. I saw the TV Glow, good, but I think I saw the TV Glow use film language to communicate like what it feels like to be trapped, and to basically live a lie. I would say, and not be out. So yeah, that's a feeling I can't relate to. But and I think that's the case with most queer films. I don't know if you've seen the actual film Queer with Daniel Craig yet,
I
which was
have not.
I haven't either. I'm waiting for it to stream. It didn't get a much of a theatrical release, at least uh, around here, but they've had some others. So I mentioned Moonlight, Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. And I'm glad you brought up the MCU because I think that just generally has been trying to be a little more inclusive. And sometimes, if even if it's not the main character, it'll be a peripheral character will be have a girl will have a girlfriend or a boy will have a boyfriend, or they'll be, there's usually going to be a Hispanic or Asian or Black or sometimes, very mixed cast, which I think is good for mainstream films as well. But obviously, you're not going to get something to the extent of telling a queer or a cultural narrative. So, are there any films outside of A24 that you like, as far as really any representation?
Oh, that's a good question. I really did like I Love the TV. It's so hard because A24 has been on the pulse for a lot of the films. Like I'm thinking about so watch a lot of YouTube filmmakers,
Oh,
and
cool.
one of my favorites actually just got picked up by A24. Uh, Has Been Hotel. It's being distributed through Amazon. It started as a YouTube short called Has Been Hotel. It's about a bunch of demons in hell, and it's about the daughter of hell trying to create a reform hotels for sinners to reform their ways. And it is very queer and it's very funny and it's a musical. I'm a huge musical
Nice.
fan. So I love that, and I love the spin-off show that they have for that called Hell of a Boss.
Mhm.
It's they are full-length TV shows. They're just on the internet and
Sure.
now
Yeah.
syndicated on Amazon Prime Video via A24. I I love English Teacher if you've ever seen that. It
I
it's
have
on
not. I'm
Hulu.
married to an English teacher, so so I've
It's
seen the real life one.
It's good. That stars a gay man teaching English in, like, contemporary America. It's very funny. It lampoons a lot of things. That person also created a television show on the internet called I think it's, like, The Gay and Wondrous Life of Jordan Alvarez or Brian Alvarez or no, Caleb Gallo or Jacob Gallo or something like that, and it was this it's this television show that someone just like self-financed, and it was very impressive at the time. So it's refreshing to see A24 sort of have these sort of like well-financed things because for the longest time when I was watching queer media, it was
Mhm.
either by a sort of like solitary sort of like gay specific independent film studio like a Lone Wolf, or it was being self-financed on the internet and there were people that were putting money down to do these full-length shows. Like there was also one called The Outs I was really into, and these are all just like full-length shows that people just put on the internet.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's what I love about media, and especially independent film. Independent film is can be just somebody grabs a DV camera, or even in olden days a Super 8 or something, and just goes out and shoot. And that's how a lot of film directors got their start. And I'm just looking, and I'm looking at Has Been Hotel, and I love, yeah. I I don't like gatekeep what is a movie or not, or what is a TV show or not. Whether it's online. I watch a lot of online content too, but I have not watched this. And I see Stephanie Beatriz is involved in this, at least with the series. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's so. Yeah, I'm actually really intrigued now. So 8 episodes with the pilot, and I do see that production companies A24, Amazon, MGM. Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And an English teacher I don't know much about at all. I see it's an FX show, or at
Yes.
least yes. And good point about TV. A24 has, I guess, a few years ago Euphoria was the big TV show, which and I think that A24 is finding, I'm going to use the word niche because but finding it's championing projects that wouldn't see, like, even the independent studios, like, they just wouldn't understand. It's like it's giving rise to voices, and in fact, Jane Schoenbrunn, and I can relate because we're DIY. We just finished a Kickstarter, and Jane, they had a Kickstarter 2014, I believe it was. So I have not finished my research on that, but I can't wait. I have the Blu-ray from the A20, and there's a commentary on it. So I'm just really looking forward to digging through that. But and also Has Been Hotel. So I hope that I guess that'll probably be yeah on. Is it already on Amazon?
It is, and I think it got picked up for a second season, so
That's great. That's great.
it's
So
highly recommended. I also like Beef. I hope I'm
beef,
not
yeah.
sure if that's going to be. I think the plan was for it to be an anthology, but I don't know if it got picked up for a second season or not. It's sort of hard on Netflix.
Yeah, so and that's a great point. So we're talking about representation. That's Asian characters. 10 years ago, it would be really tough to see series like that sweep like every award category for a year. I mean, of course, this year was Shogun. Actually, yeah. So but yeah, I'm a big fan of Beef. I think it's a great show. There is going to be a second season, and I think it's coming out this year. And I forget but it's a new Beef. It's a new set of characters, and I have to. Well, we'll see. It'll probably be good, but yeah, Ali Wong and oh, the guy from Burning, and Walking Dead too, and
Yeah,
Minari. Oh,
I know
the
who you're
actor's.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I also think of other films too. Like I'm a big fan of Portrait of a Lady on Fire by Celine Sciamma. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen this film.
Okay, the French film. But it's about a lesbian couple, and it's kind of set during. It kind of has. It's filmed in very much the style of like a English period piece, even though it's French. It's a very large mansion. Great performances. So I would recommend that one. I'm trying to think of others, but
So like a
within H
French Carol.
a French Carol, huh? I love Carol. By the way, we just did a big thing on Douglas Sirk and Fassbender, and then Todd Haynes in January. It was great, and we watched Carol, and I don't know if you know Fassbender, but we watched The Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant, which is very close to Carol. Yeah, I'd say French Carol, but different. It showed up on the Sight and Sound 250 actually. I don't know if you follow that, but a couple years ago.
No.
Sorry, I'm a major film nerd, obviously, but uh, but it was back to A24. There's also this year, Love Lies Bleeding. I thought did a really good job. Have you seen that one yet?
When you say this year, do you mean 2025 or 2024?
2024. Yeah, sorry, I'm still in last year. Film
No,
wise, it's really early in 2025.
yes, no, totally understand. I've heard of Love Lies Bleeding, haven't seen it. I I wanted to see it, but it didn't like pan out, essentially.
Well, you gave some great recommendations. I can't wait to check out Has Been Hotel, An English Teacher. And so, if you want, think that was a brief but very fruitful conversation. So I appreciate you coming on. So can you share where people can find you? You mentioned your blog.
Oh, yes, so people can find me, I'm very Googleable, I'm Alex Taylor. Alex Has Opinions. You can find me on Medium, that's also alexhasopinions.com. I also, am part of a writers collective called After the Storm magazine, and we accept speculative fiction pieces, so if you're a
Nice.
writer, we do pay, so reach out to us there.
Nice, nice. Yeah, oh, yeah. Thank you for paying writers. We love our friends getting paid. We built a company so our friends could get paid. So that's awesome. I also love the very Googleable. So uh, we'll put links in the description. So I recommend you check out Alex. I did see you had a piece about Amelia Perez, which I've been busy, so did not get a chance to read it, but I'm going to read it after I record this podcast. Probably I'll put it in the show notes too. Um, and yeah, no, it's great meeting you. Great talking to you, Alex. And yeah, look forward to having you back.
Yes, wonderful talking to you, and I'm excited to see how the podcast goes, and best of luck with the book. And
Thanks.
people should definitely buy it.
Th- Thank you. I'm gonna put that on the book, on the back cover. Alex has opinions, and one of them is people should buy this book. So thank you.
Yes. You can quote me on that.
All right, take care.
Take care.